One Pokemon. This is our fifth and final panel of the day. Because we had 5 panels.
I don't know why they gave us 5 panels. They're probably regretting it.
It was probably the crack. They smoked a lot of crack. So if you haven't done this already, you should follow us on Twitter at 5thgen.pknn. We will upload this panel's video along with every other panel we gave today, along with every panel we've ever given, along with other videos and panels we give in the future. And
there's actually a panel I just gave that there is no video of, and that is a good thing.
Thank you. That was not us, though. And this is Fandoms Are Cancer.
Given in collaboration with the Sujin G. Komen Foundation. That's a joke. They're actually a bunch of cocks. They didn't want to partner with us.
We didn't want to partner with them anyway.
Yeah. So you're probably wondering, okay, fandoms are cancer. Why are you going to do this? Why are you going to come here to an anime convention full of people who are clearly part of fandoms, just look at the way they're dressed, and tell them that this is cancer? Why do you have to do this? Because fandoms are wrong. And when people are wrong on the internet, this is what we do. We go and we argue with Bernie Bros. We go and troll Trumpers. When people are wrong on the internet, at an anime convention, on the street corner giving an interview, we have to make them right. But not alt-right.
We don't go that far. We do that with words.
This guy is cancer.
Yes.
Which one?
But that leads us to a predicament. That leads us to a predicament, which is, how did this guy wind up with a fandom in the first place? Well, you can blame Al Gore. Because the primary obstacle that any fandom needs to overcome is you need a critical mass number of people to churn out enough content in the form of either discussions with other people, awful fan art, not so awful fan art, which actually doesn't exist, in order to keep it going.
How many neckbeards can you fit in one basement?
5, and they're trading fan subs of Sailor Moon.
This isn't a problem for larger interests. Like, Star Trek fandom has been around forever because Star Trek has been fairly popular. But for more niche interests, this presents a bit of a difficulty because there might not be enough people even in the next town over for you to get a club together to appreciate, your obscure fandom. It's also a problem for more toxic fandoms if you want to avoid being seen as socially unacceptable for liking certain things without the reassurance you get from other people liking them. However, the internet solves all of these problems because geographical space does not exist on the internet, and there are enough people on the planet for whatever fandom you want to come up with. And the second problem is solved by something that you may have heard of called the greater internet dickwad theory, which suggests that normal people presented with an audience via the internet and total anonymity reveal their true colors, which is total dickwads, because fundamentally people are awful.
I mean, to be fair, aren't we doing this with an audience and no anonymity?
That's because we're good.
It's because we're high energy.
We're a force for good. So, why do people join these groups? Escapism. Our lives are great. Your lives are garbage. Example, you're here. You paid $40 to hang out with people who don't even know how to shower. Take a sniff to the left. Take a sniff to the right. Don't go pass out. Even worse, you're consensually hanging out with Hetalia fans.
Actually, I hope to affiliate with some Hetalia fans tonight. Consensually, of course.
But not Homestucks.
Yeah, no,
Oh God, no, we don't have standards.
So, you're here because you want to live in a fantasy world. Unfortunately, .hack isn't currently taking applicants. If you're unfamiliar with .hack, it's Sal, except good. Good's a strong word. And Japan isn't going to let you in because Japan doesn't like people who aren't Japanese because Japan is super racist.
It's impressive that Japan doesn't count as a fantasy world because as we established in dubs are better than subs, Japan doesn't exist.
You also just want to connect with people sharing a similar delusion. You know, like maybe someone who also believes that Mexico is going to pay for the wall. They're not. Johto is. Which leads us to the worst form of escapism, of course.
You know, Max, I believe the French call that folie à deux.
What?
The French call that folie à deux. Okay. Madness for two. So, one thing people like to do to escape because their lives are garbage and no one will ever love them is they engage in imaginary relationships with fictional characters, referred to as waifus. Now, to be fair, a lot of normals, that's non-anime people for you, a lot of normals engage in some fantasizing, but what separates this is your average red-blooded American will have sexual fantasies about fictional characters or celebrities, people obviously they'll never meet. But what makes this weird is people who are into waifus have emotionally relationed fantasies with fictional characters, and that's just not normal, okay?
The most unrealistic part of this is assuming Ryan Gosling can't get somebody.
Oh, hot off of La La Land, he is a hot commodity. And then it devolves into things like this weird Korean guy marrying a pillow. And, you know, at least that, you're getting something out of it. Shipping, imagining relationships between two fictional characters, there's not even anything in it for you anymore. It's
L and L Block do not belong together. Get your shit straight.
It wasn't L and L Block, dumbass. It was Mellow and all the Tetris blocks.
Did you read that?
Death Note X Tetris, erotic fanfiction.
That's a strike.
Are you shipping during the panel?
Do you want to join the audience?
I'm just saying I read it. I didn't say I approved.
We know you approved.
For me, it's all about mellow math.
There we go. That's the strike. And way too common.
So about shipping. Now, you may be aware that the term shipping originated on Usenet forums for the X-Files. If you don't know what a Usenet forum is, I had to ask my mom. Apparently she was into this too. She was pro Mulder X Scully. But yeah, people would get together on the internet and talk about whether or not Mulder and Scully on the X-Files should be just friends or should there be a romantic relationship to it. And they would invest some of their time and energy into this, which seems really pointless.
You did that, didn't you, Matt?
Now, here's some like 15-year-old series spoilers for you. By the end of X-Files, they hook up. But shipping as a practice, while the term came from these forums, as a practice, it predates the internet. Back in the day, Star Trek fanzines were a thing. And people would like print these themselves and share their fan fiction through subscribers through physical mail, which was a thing. That shocks me. And that's actually one of the most common ships at the time was Kirk/Spock. And this is the way they stylized it, and this is also where we get the use of the word slash when we talk about doing slashfics. And Word of God almost confirms Kirk x Spock. There's somewhere some script note, some Star Trek nerd dug up in which somebody asked Gene Roddenberry, hey, did Kirk and Spock, did they ever like, and he was like, yeah, I don't know, it's the future, maybe. So, for all the fangirls, that's all it needs, it's canon.
This gets into shipping wars. So what shipping wars are is when two countries have vastly diverged economic interests. They can start applying selective tariffs to each other's goods in order to try and get a trade advantage over the other one. A common case right now would be
That's
United
not
States.
what we're talking about. We're not talking about trade wars.
No.
No, we're shipping wars are when people on the internet fight about whose imaginary relationships between fictional characters are the real OTP. It's kind of like when grown adults fight over whose imaginary friend is cooler. AKA the Middle East crisis. Now, despite all the problems we have with shipping, I do have to make an important caveat about this. My ships are okay. My ships Sonichu forever. R3 will make it canon.
I think that's a second strike.
There's a note on that.
It says no notes.
Oh.
So anyway, now we're going to get into a series of particularly prominent fandoms that are examples of just utter distilled malignancy. Starting with the Robot Jones fandom.
I thought you said popular fandoms.
You got me there.
So, whatever happened to Robot Jones is a late 90s and or early 2000s cartoon. It can't be both because it didn't run long enough to span a year. There is a fandom for it, which I was shocked by. Other people that were shocked by it include the voice actor for the main character, Bobby Block. Especially when he was 11 and Googled the show and realized that they really didn't like him. They really didn't. So what happened was the show started with a robot voicing the titular character, Robot Jones, and then they had Bobby go over and redo the voices, and the internet agreed that Bobby was the wrong pick. To the extent where he is not allowed on the subreddit for whatever happened to Robot Jones. Addendum, there is a subreddit for whatever happened to Robot Jones.
And this is just a tragedy, because Bobby Block should be regarded as a hero, because in this age of automation, where robots are taking away low-skilled labor from unskilled workers, Bobby Block stands alone as perhaps the only known example of reverse automation. Bobby Block is the only human in history to take a job away from a robot.
And for that, he needs an applause. See, Bobby, they like you now.
Addendum, when the robot uprising happens, they're gunning for him first.
I am definitely not his self-appointed publicist, which, according to him, is real.
Is this a voice actor we could afford at SFAOD?
Maybe.
Up next,
Maybe.
for actually prominent fans, we have Hetalia, which, first off, when I first read this, I thought it was Hentalia, which I thought was super disappointing that it actually wasn't. But judging by the image searches for this, I'm guessing I'm not the only one.
Depending on how into trash you are, Hetalia was at one point okay. And that one point was the first season, and only if you watched it dubbed because it was super racist. Really? Well, no, it was racist in the dub. The sub was garbage. However, if you actually want a geopolitical summary through comics, Poland Ball is the way to go. Because it's good.
Poland Ball is also not just an excuse for teenage girls to ship yaoi.
It is not.
Oh, wait till it gets a fandom. They'll start doing the fan art.
I'm scared.
Next up, we have Homestuck, which is so bad. I wanted to stay as far away from it as possible, so I just entered in the first 6 letters, grabbed the first image I could find, and just went with it.
We don't recommend Google searching that. It probably won't back up our story.
So let's just brush over this.
We don't really. We want to shit on every anime in the video room, but I haven't even heard of half these. That's how lame they are. So we've got Saga of Tanya the Evil, which does that. I got my.
You are the fandom for that.
The fandom just consists of the promotional tweets that Crunchyroll is legally required to put out.
I.e. what Miles is tweeting. Look at him. He is the enemy.
He's laughing because it's true.
Masamune King's Revenge, it has a second season, so I guess it has a fandom. I don't know why. Konosuba, which is like Sao if it was somehow trashier and more harem-y. But it's really cute though. Sailor Moon, which has a die-hard fandom. If there was no SFAOD, there would still be neckbeards trading bad Sailor Moon fan subs in somebody's
Or at least those two.
On VHS. We've got...
Not a neckbeard.
Yeah, you are.
You can't grow a beard, can you?
Burrito and so.
We'll draw one on.
You don't have to have a neckbeard to be a neckbeard.
Boruto. We have Boruto, which sounds like burrito, but is not because Japan's racist. They hate Mexico. Which is bad because it's just bad Naruto fanfic, and people still eat it up. We have JoJo's Bizarre Copyright Claim, which has a decent soundtrack, crap storyline. And we have Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, which unfortunately is not inspired by baddragon.com. We have Blue Exorcist Kyoto Saga. Blue Exorcist, decent show, way too much fan art. Stop with the fan art. Especially some of it's like kind of incesty. Is it incesty? And we have Gintama, which is a trash show which doesn't deserve a fandom because the plot makes no sense. It's complete nonsense. But at least unlike all the other major shonen shows, they recognize it because it's a parody comedy series.
So next we're going to take a break from cancer and go into a good fandom. Jackie Chan Adventures is fantastic.
That is, again, not a character from Jackie Chan Adventures.
What are you talking about? It's Toru.
No. That is not Toru.
What do you mean?
That is also not Toru.
So this is from one of my fan fictions where Toru
Okay, you know, stop right there. You're getting a strike. Do you want to join the audience? I can give this panel myself.
I'll be good.
Good. So, Jackie Chan Adventures has the best fandom. Assuming you just drank enough bleach to forget that happened. He'll be drinking a lot when we're done. It's actually, Harambe is second to Jackie Chan Adventures for her fandoms. Boko Harambe, of course, is not a good fandom. It inspired...
Pick up women.
I mean, panels aren't, so... Jackie Chan Adventures inspired the greatness of Bruce Lee, all good Pokemon, and 5th gen Pokemon. Which, if you want an argument for why they are not Pokemon, you missed that.
Also,
the
board game is A, the pinnacle of human achievement, and B, exists.
We can't open it. We're afraid that by opening it, it will be like an Indiana Jones and it will melt our faces with its beauty. No, I want it to be like Jumanji.
In fact, it's so great that in conjunction with Crunchyroll, we've started a project on Kickstarter to revive Jackie Chan Adventures.
Now, I know we're asking for a lot. $100 million seed money. But it's the only way to bring forward such high art as Jackie Chan Adventures.
We actually are on hold on this right now. We have a cease and desist letter from Crunchyroll. So we need you all to tweet at Crunchyroll.
They're just playing hard to get.
Hashtag make Jackie Chan Adventures.
Thank you.
Next we have the SAC anime fandom. I guess it has a fandom because people keep showing up to it. Our key issues with this is that they gave us panels, which as the AoD staff has learned is a terrible mistake. Then they gave us more panels. They promoted their supposed anime convention with a bunch of Disney art because a Disney artist was going to be there. That's not anime. Come on, guys. And
Jackie Chan Adventures is anime.
Where's that SAC anime?
You can't shake it. It kills the hard drive.
Your laptop is that old.
Yeah. Anyway, first of all, it's in Sacramento, and the only thing we can say about Sacramento is at least it's not Bakersfield.
Damn it, Max. I was very passionate.
It died from the cancer.
You slammed the table.
Yeah.
Do we have the rest of this memorized? You know what? I know exactly what I was going to talk about next, so I'm going to keep going. We're going to talk about gay sports anime. Gay sports anime.
Thank you.
Because gay sports anime has a fandom. And I don't pick a specific particular one, you know, Prince of Free Basketball, Haikyuu. They're all the same. Literally, none of the unplug it, replug it, and then hit the power again.
Turn it off.
Why does it have a cheat code?
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, all the gay sports anime are the same. There's no plot that actually matters. It's just a bunch of pointless drama. The characters don't really have personalities. They just try to have the vague archetypes. You want your hot type, your cool type, your glasses character, maybe a Shota or something.
Oh, no.
I don't approve of the Shota fandom. But all of the drama is pointless. It doesn't mean anything. You might have a tournament arc. You might have somebody learn a special skill, and that's the story. Oh, I couldn't do this one thing very well. Now I can do it okay. That's your drama for the week.
This thing is old. It came with it.
All right. Back.
Now we are on to gay sports. So gay sports is of course only sports with men. Female sports are not gay, but are sports.
But nobody watches them.
Yeah, this is because sports is effectively men playing with sticks and balls.
Yeah.
There is absurd loyalty to teams. This is demonstrated by the fact that when a team in your local area wins, you do not say, oh, the Santa Clara 49ers just won the World Series. You say, we won the World Series.
This is a form of athletic plagiarism. You didn't do anything to help.
The teams are also not loyal. So it means that after the Santa Clara 49ers win the NHL Hockey Cup, they are going to then move to LA because they're going to get paid better there.
We aren't loyal either. If we were actually paid, we would also move to LA.
I would never move to LA. Now, this is even worse because gay sports encourages football riots. Whether your team wins, loses, ties, or gets food poisoning, you are going to go out, flip a truck, break a window, and beat up someone in a color, like in a clothing color you disagree with, maybe because it's too close to the enemy team. This is a form of toxic ultranationalism, similar to basically most hate crimes we've seen following the election. On the bright side, it inspired Warhammer orcs.
And that's always a plus.
But
Probably.
is that worth it?
Probably not. Next, we're going to talk about eSports, which, when we get down to it, is almost as bad as watching Let's Players. Esports takes laziness to unprecedented levels, at least with real sports, quote unquote. You can understand someone sitting on their ass and watching it because it actually does require like physical athletic ability to be good at sports, and not everyone has that. So not everyone can aspire to be in the NFL or whatever if you don't have the athletic capability. Nothing's stopping you from getting good at video games. So the fact that you're content to sit back and watch somebody else be good at video games is just fractal levels of laziness. In addition, the fan base is super half-assed about it. Have you ever seen esports fans flip cars over because evil geniuses didn't win the Manila Major this year?
I don't think they have the upper body strength to do that.
There you go.
Except maybe Andrew.
I mean, they wouldn't even
I've broken things when big loss.
On the bright side, esports on ESPN is super triggering to real sports fans. A couple of years ago on ESPN, when they showed stuff for the Dota International, Twitter exploded with people being like, why is there League of Legends on my ESPN? And it was hilarious. They needed a safe space, and it was great. They're so triggered.
I mean, it could be worse. There could be an eSports. Oh wait,
There actually is an eSports anime production.
This looks like absolute garbage. Miles, can we watch this on Crunchyroll sometime this year?
No comment.
So this show is officially garbage enough that it's probably going to be on Crunchyroll.
See, the thing that I don't understand is there's already body pillows for this, which implies that there's people who are fantasizing about imaginary video game nerds, when there's plenty of real video game nerds people can be fantasizing about.
just those two. I'm fine. If anyone's fantasizing about us, I'm scared. Worse still, this show promotes smoking in bed, which is just dangerous.
It's okay, at least they're not watching subbed anime in bed.
That's
That'd give them cancer.
So now we're going to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog, which all of you are way too excited about. Like, I felt like there was some like sexual grunts there.
Googled your name and the Hedgehog.
Yeah, never
That's
Google.
why we're not 18 up.
Never Google your name, the Hedgehog. It's almost as bad for you as drinking. Actually, it's worse for you than drinking bleach. So as you can tell, Sonic games were good, became bad, got good like once.
There's
I don't want to update.
Switch computers.
Yeah.
Change places.
That's how bad the game was.
I'm gonna punch the table. So, there we go. So the big problem with Sonic the Hedgehog, of course, is OCs. Bronies and Pegasisters being an example of great OCs. Bad OCs include characters like Shadow, Rogue the Bat, and pretty much every character in Sonic the Hedgehog, including Sonic the Hedgehog. And the worst OC of all, though, is Sonichu. For those of you familiar with a vintage late 2000s 4chan, this is Sonichu. He is a combination of Pikachu and Sonic.
I couldn't tell.
Who the creator tried to copyright. This is how good his drawing is. Sonichu lives in a world of his own creation about him. Sonichu's enemies are his enemies. So like the mall security guard who told him to stop hitting on all the girls, or the dean of his college who expelled him for creepily hitting on all of the girls, or the guy who beat him in a Chop Chop Papa Rap Master Onion Showdown video, who he made a video. Not only did he draw a comic of Sonichu like killing him viciously, he made a video of himself shooting the guy.
That's fine. Well, as bad as that fandom is, we haven't even scratched the surface of the worst fandom. The worst. This fandom is about a particular work of fiction that has indoctrinated a generation of young people with a ridiculous ideology that's completely unworkable in the real world, and has made its author exceptionally wealthy and granted them just ludicrous amounts of power and influence. Part and parcel because they have followers to this day for no good reason. The book's also full of completely fantastical nonsense. I've tried to read this book and I still can't wrap my head around anything inside of it. It makes no sense at all. This book is also read by people who self-identify as grand wizards, and its fans like have costume parties where they dress up as ghosts and light things on. It's
Clayton, this isn't the book we were talking about when I wrote the slide.
No?
No, this isn't the worst book fandom.
oh wait, that's right. You're talking about Harry Potter.
We did it. Harry Potter is Hitler.
No, Harry Potter is worse. Which is a 7-book series that somehow became 8 films because Warner Brothers was out of ideas and really needed another round of paychecks. It's also triggered endless amounts of forum debate, just pages and pages of people complaining at each other about whether or not the books are better than the movies. Relax, none of this matters. They're both garbage. Lord of the Rings is a much better fantasy setting anyway. And when you get down to it, the main character is garbage anyway. Voldemort is just a 14th level lich sorcerer who likes to cast Finger of Death a lot. He had nothing better to do one day, so he decided to cast a 7th level spell to kill an infant. This infant rolled a natural 20 on his fortitude save with a +2 8 another bonus from his mother, survived, and then thoroughly humiliated that he failed to kill a toddler with Finger of Death, decided to shuffle off into a puddle for the next decade or two. He's not, the little shit's not special, he's just lucky.
I mean, we all know Neville Longbottom is the real chosen one anyway.
He is. That's acceptable.
That's not a fan fiction, but we're going to talk about some fan fiction. Because if you look for some Harry Potter fan fiction, oh boy, is there some. So, of course, one of the things is, everybody who's into Harry Potter likes to ship. Now, you've got your, one of the more popular ships, in case you didn't know, is Harry Hermione, referred to as Hermione. Now,
That's
this
lazy.
was so popular, they even, like, the director of some of the movies admitted he was kind of on board with the Harry Hermione thing. It should have been better. Another Hermione ship people like, I can kind of see where they're coming from with this. It's got an interesting angle. Girls love a bad boy, so Draco X Hermione is a thing.
Wait, he's a bad boy? I thought he was just a whiny bitch.
They're the same thing, really.
Okay.
And then the more popular Draco ship, though, is Draco Harry. Yeah, Draco Harry. That's a big thing. And so you've got some classic fanfics out of this. You've got My Immortal, which if you have not read My Immortal, oh my god, there was a live reading at Fandoms last year.
That was fucking amazing.
It was on point.
They better come back and finish that.
You've got, School of Prayer and Miracles. There's a fan fiction about Hogwarts and a tentacle monster from the lake, but that's 18 plus. There's a website called The Toast, which did a whole series of what if Harry Potter was written by Ayn Rand. It's actually really fun because you can tell that this person skimmed 2 Ayn Rand books and was like, yeah, I got this. And they also skimmed all the Harry Potter books and were like, yeah, I got this.
And that's, in their defense, that's more than you need to read Harry Potter.
It's not just fan fiction writings. You have a whole website of fan fiction called Pottermore, in which people sort themselves into houses and blah, blah, blah. You've got a 2-part stage play produced in London. This was on in a proper theater and everything, like their equivalent Broadway or something. I don't understand Britain. But yeah, it's essentially time-traveling slashfic between Draco and Harry's sons. Because, alright, you can't have Draco and Harry canon. You can have Draco and Harry's sons. And then, of course, a 5-film series in production from the Warner Brothers starring Eddie Redmayne, the Danish girl. I liked her a lot better in that one.
And then you have the military branch of the Harry Potter fandom, the Harry Potter Alliance. They are a filthy group of SJW cucks who have gained their ideology from the 8th Harry Potter book, Harry Potter and the Trans-Ethnic Albanian Wolfkin. Now, if you went to a bookstore, you would not be able to find this because it is rightfully banned.
Can you find a bookstore?
That's another question. This group has been declared a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. And their organizers are registered terrorists, just like Hank and John Green, who advocate such vicious work as buying fair trade chocolate and wearing stupid little wristbands.
Sorry, I gagged a little bit there. At least Lacey Green's off the hook this time.
Don't get me wrong, we still hate her, but she's not guilty of this. So let's look at one of your prototypical HPA nerd fighters.
You may recognize recognize him from another panel.
This was before he got red pilled. So this guy thinks that Conkeldurr, that's right, we can swear here. This guy thinks that Conkeldurr is a Pokemon, if that's how Conkeldurr identifies. He frequents r/SJW Cuck. Don't worry, he's just doing it in an attempt to get laid, and it's not working out very well. This guy probably /through, I alternative fact check this, he definitely ships, including IRL shipping. His favorites are Nickelback, quote, it's a great Canadian band.
Oh my god.
Mostly with Linkin Park, because he's evil. He still uses Hotmail. I didn't even change this bullet point from our other slide, just because it's still true. And, of course, he's a social justice activist, but he's not a real social justice activist because he didn't get into Berkeley, so he went to UC Davis and University Farm. And, like,
That's
you know how often they riot in Davis and, like, burn cars and, like, throw bricks through Starbucks and shit? Never. Berkeley, they call it Wednesday.
Next up, we have a fandom that the HBO has thoroughly infiltrated, SuperWholock, which, in case you're not familiar with it, is just a mashup of Supernatural, Doctor Who, and Sherlock. Let's just break these down fandom by fandom. First off, Supernatural is just full of potential incest, which honestly isn't that bad because I've played so much Crusader Kings 2 that it's impossible for me to imagine a relationship that doesn't involve incest, so that's just all par for the course
How
now.
closely related are your parents?
Not closely related enough. I mean, well, you're the one from Redding.
That's why I like sheep.
So, then we have the Sherlock Holmes ships. The thing is, John Locke is a great philosopher, an alright lost character, and just the worst fucking idea for a ship ever.
Yeah, it's all about Sherlock.
That's a strike. What did I tell you about shipping?
Wait, I have to tell the people about Doctor Who. Doctor Who is essentially time-traveling nonsense. The plots don't matter, and there's going to be some bad special effects. But Captain Jack Harkness, played by the great John Barrowman, is he MBE now or is he OBE? He's some level of knightedness. Great. Also, the first 3 seasons of Torchwood, solid. Not season 4.
As you can see, all 3 of these are perfectly fine phantoms on their own.
No, they're not.
He almost did it.
They're awful.
Now, this is not to say that combining universes is necessarily a bad idea. In fact, I know of 3 universes that go great together, and that is the Bored to Death in the House of Cards and Recreation fandom. Now, these universes make so much sense.
Did you know that in the BDHCR universe that...
This is a fandom. 2 strikes, Max. Next slide.
No.
Alright.
Here we go.
This guy looks familiar. So, Bronies and Pegasisters. We have a bit of a problem with these people, you might know. So, liking MLP, My Little Pony, is perfectly acceptable if you're a 5-year-old girl. The problem we have is that Bronies like 5-year-old girls.
But are not of an age where that is appropriate.
The Brony community is the 2nd largest collection of pedophiles in the world. I alternative back. I'm not allowed to make that joke in the panel. It was off mic, you can't hear it. My main issue with them is that they feed the furry community. And look, when I'm trying to find furry fan art and I just get a bunch of My Little Pony, it really pisses me off.
Bullshit. That's a strike.
Isn't he up to like 5 strikes by now?
I don't know how baseball works. I think the 49ers are a rugby
That's
team.
true.
And there's way too much MLP porn. So much so that creators of the show said, "Hey guys, could you like tone it down with the porn?" she's like, you know, I created this character in honor of a special needs child, and this like is very meaningful to them. Can you not draw porn of this character?
No porn.
Porn.
Okay, 4chan. This brings us to the next fandom.
Oh god.
Now,
This is
he has
disgusting.
8,300 Twitter followers. Raise your hand if you follow him on Twitter. Raise your hand if he follows you back.
What a bunch of cocks.
That is the defining characteristic of...
Now, that's because he's a malignant narcissist. I'm pretty sure I can get his psychiatrist, his mother, and maybe his fiance to back me up on this one.
Heidi, what do you say? You're a cock.
I used to work with him at a biotech company.
I'm so
Biorad.
sorry.
We drove past it on the way here.
Yeah, you probably did.
Yeah, I was called to be his reference for that. They offered me his job. I'm not actually kidding either.
So, like, first off, we got 5 panels at this convention. I'm sure AoD is rethinking that decision by now. But Miles only got 2 of the 3 that he wanted. And considering how bad our panels are, we can only imagine how awful his must be.
Actually, I was part of one of his panels. It was pretty bad.
So, he made himself at home in not only our lives, but everyone's lives, but more importantly, mine and Colton's living room. He would walk in through the back door in his bathrobe, shout our names. Yeah, without knocking. Shout our names, take some cookies, and then leave right back out. It was really wildly inappropriate.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This guy claimed that our clubs in college were subclubs of his anime club, despite the fact that it had like 2-person overlap. And for a good portion of Max and I's senior year, our Nerf club had a higher weekly attendance than his anime club. So suck it.
Take that.
Also, probably just the most heinous crime. He has planeswalkers in his Magic the Gathering cube. And we all know that planeswalkers are the MTG equivalent of Gen 5 Pokemon. And we did a whole panel about how bad that is.
Now, we've also gone over some toxic fandoms, so we'd also like to emphasize that he has cosplayed Russia from Hetalia, which is a heinous crime.
So did you.
No, I didn't. That never happened.
Max, that's a strike.
Never ever.
And of course, we all know his worst crime is that he works for an anime company.
Which is just the worst.
So, now we're going to go into some real-life fandoms with real-life consequences. The first one you may know is pretty responsible for the Trump presidency, and that is, of course, the Bernie Sanders fandom. Yeah, that hurt.
We pull no punches here.
This wasn't 18 plus.
I don't think that's 18. That's for voting. Bernie Sanders was a small-time gadfly politician who somehow struck it gold. He was bitten by a radioactive proletariat. I believe that occurred during his honeymoon in Russia when he was mayor. This gave him large sway over white millennials, rendering them entirely incapable of basic arithmetic. The problem, like Bernie was great. The problem was he started believing his own fanfiction was manufactured at industrial levels by Daily Kos, Huffington Post, and the Young Turks, which were fake news even before fake news was a term. He is commonly shipped with Elizabeth Warren, Comrade Jill Stein, and of course, Lenin's corpse. Speaking of the unspeakable presidency,
we have the Donald Trump fandom. This fandom is approximately, I'm sorry, I alternative fact check this, exactly 88% woke. He didn't start believing his own fan fiction. Donald Trump has always believed in his own fan alternative facts. In fact, he wrote most of them in 140 characters or less. Now, the real crime of this community, aside from, you know, the racism, sexism, xenophobia, homophobia, whatever phobias you want to have, Their real crime, what we have a problem with, is meme recycling. Because if you've seen our panels, you know we don't like pull necromancy on old memes. No, we would never sink to that level. And his superpower comes from his hair, which is an alien parasite. And he can render old white people incapable of using Google to fact check things, or using basic human empathy to understand the emotions of others.
Next up, ironically, the cancer research fandom is also cancer. First off, how many of you are aware that breast cancer is a disease that exists?
I don't care, it only affects women.
See, this is a perfect example of how the marketing they're trying to use is bad, because their overemphasis on how boobs are awesome has brought people to believe that breast cancer is a disease that only affects women, which is actually not true. Men can get breast cancer. It is a problem. Not as much as women can, but it is a problem. There's also the fact that they've been trying to get too edgy and newfangled with their marketing. If you've heard of cuck fancer, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's just awful. They're normalizing alt-right terminology like the word cuck.
What cucks?
Nobody should be using the word cuck. It's just awful.
I love the word cuck, and if you have a problem with it, you can shove it up your ass.
Also, the overemphasis on cancer itself diverts public attention from other diseases that could use research attention, such as myasthenia gravis.
Curing all the STDs so everyone can be more slutty.
As an asexual, I'm triggered.
It also...
It's not glib.
It also just generally reinforces a transactional view of science, in which scientists are contract engineers paid to perform a specific task, instead of, expanding our general understanding of nature, because that's what science is supposed to be.
While we're on this soapbox, maybe we should really hit something hard.
You mean like religion?
No. An alternative to psychology. Something's going wrong with the computer. Shoot. So we got a cease and desist letter. So I guess that's not happening.
I didn't even put that in the slideshow.
They've
just
hacked
as
us
shocked
again.
as you are.
It was the Russians, I think.
Yeah. We are a target of the DNC hack, apparently.
All right. Yeah, so we're not going to say anything about Scientology. Let's talk about Team Skull. I'm sorry. I mean Juggalos. So now, Juggalos, first of all, don't understand how magnets work.
Or a lot of other things.
They call it Frisco, whereas you people refer to it as Santa Clara. They don't believe in scientists, much like Republicans. They love Fago, which we were supposed to have Fago with us, and I forgot it.
Which is fine.
It's
disgusting.
It has all the sugar of regular soda with all the aftertaste of diet. It's awful.
They added sucralose after sugar.
They like to paint their faces. Exactly. They paint their faces to look like idiots. They believe in miracles, again, much like Republicans. And they're not even like the cool, creepy clowns when that was like a trend going around like spooping people out. No, they're like lame clowns.
So,
trash.
With one more fandom to go over, this is one that was almost eradicated centuries ago, but unfortunately has kind of bloomed back in, which is, of course, the Catapult fandom. They look like fucking spoons. It's a spoon tied to some ties, tied to some wood that launches things. But it can't even launch them they can't even launch a 90-kilogram projectile 300 meters. This is literally a low-energy device and an inferior siege weapon. In fact, the fans were almost killed off by the Goths in the 5th century, and you know how hard it is to get killed by someone who shops at Hot Topic.
I think that was a different kind of goth.
No, they're both Goths, they're the same.
Okay. That's an alternative fact.
You're fake news.
So let's get on to some acceptable fandoms, if there are any.
This is actually an exhaustive list minus Jackie Chan Adventure.
So the first fandom on the list is IHOP. The International House of Pancakes is a magical land.
Danny, who's better?
Fuck you, Mike.
Okay, you know what? I will throw this microphone at you and then beat you to death with his microphone. And then kick you. IHOP is objectively superior to Denny's in every way. Case in point, we have a slideshow saying fandoms are cancer and IHOP's a good one.
We open 24 hours.
So is IHOP.
Yeah.
Big boy's better.
All right. Also, we have Johnny Young Bosch, the greatest voice actor, just because we love Johnny Young Bosch. I wish he was at this convention.
We'd also like to point out that Toonami is a very acceptable fandom because it's the reason that you're all here. Actually, in hindsight, we might want to reconsider that.
Did Toonami teach you how to not shower?
We have
with what? Dirt?
we have
yeah, you should. There's a hospital somewhere with a burn ward.
We've got Gary Aleppo Moment Johnson. To be honest, right now I'm kind of drawing a blank on why we put him in here.
We have Bobby Block, noted voice actor who replaced a robot, which just makes him special.
We had Extreme Ironing. Earlier we crapped on sports fandoms, but this has to be okay because this just sounds metal as fuck.
By the way, it is real.
We have Gen 1 Pokemon, and we declare that Gen 2 is honorarily Gen 1, so they're okay. We like Furret.
The fandom for the Foundation of Preservation of Generation 1 Pokemon, i.e. you all to us, is all right, as long as you don't write any slashfics, and if you do, it has to be about Colton.
And neither of us.
Neither of us.
Will it become an unacceptable fandom if that happens?
No, you'll just be ejected from the fandom.
You will be force-fed bleach until there's nothing left of you but Clorox.
Also, good hentai. No, not yours. Yours is disgusting. Get it the hell out of here. This is not an 18-up panel.
And of course, Super Soul Brothers, because we love having musical acts at anime conventions. We were going to,
we were going to do a little speech defining what was okay with the fandom, and then we decided
we had no time, so we're skipping it.
Also, there is no acceptable fandoms, so...
Okay, guys, you have 2 minutes.
Yeah, we're wrapping up.
So let's just say special thanks.
Thank you for coming. AoD for giving us panels. That was probably a mistake. Santa Clara for being Budget San Francisco. Trebuchet Means for giving us a slide. And Jackie Chan Adventures for being the pinnacle of human artistic achievement that inspires us all. So if you haven't already, you can follow us on Twitter at 5th Gen Not Pokemon, well, PKMN. We have filmed this, so we will upload this panel, all the panels we've done previously, all panels we've ever done will be linked on our Twitter along with on our YouTube, which you will find via our Twitter. We might get food later. If we do, we'll tweet about it. We'll probably tweet about it every time we go to IHOP, because that's part of the fandom.
As in 2 weeks from now, we go to IHOP, we're going to tweet about it.
We'll even say which one, but don't be there, that'll be creepy. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for showing up. Enjoy the convention and all that other jazz.
Enjoy the cancer.